Hey everyone, it's Sarah, the elder millennial.
And this is Bill, the infant boomer. Welcome to Strengths on Fire, the podcast for strengths enthusiasts who want to have fun while leveling up.
Get ready for a mix of powerful insights, unexpected stories, and plenty of laughs along the way. Hey Bill, you want to light these strengths on fire?
Sarah, let's light it up!
Hello, Mr. Bill Dippel.
Hello, Miss Sarah Collins. How are you?
I'm doing great. We're actually recording on a Monday today.
I know. Our arsonists will not.
I know.
I wonder if they'll feel the energy difference.
Maybe, but I'm telling you what, I have Friday energy today. I am solo parenting, and something about needing to be on makes me feel on. I woke up early, I got my workout in, and I just greeted the children with happiness. My children now know that every Monday we listen to Manic Monday. And so if we don't, they're like, hey, where's Manic Monday? Even though they're like, I don't like it.
You mean the song,
no.
Manic Monday?
Oh,
yeah.
6 o'clock already. I was just in the middle of a dream.
Yes.
Oh. No more. That's all you get.
That's that's going to be our karaoke now. I think we're running that.
I think our karaoke song is I Have Friends in Low Places.
Friends in Low Places. I think we've decided. I think that has to happen. So
speaking of Friends in Low Places, I have a question for you, my friend.
Hit me.
And I really can't wait to hear your answer.
Oh, no. That means she's prepped it, folks. I'm a little scared. So,
Bill, if you came with a warning label, what would it say?
If I came with a warning label, let's see. If I came, I think my first warning label would be drives too fast.
Oh, okay.
I think, it's not that I drive fast to drive fast. I'm just a very proficient, aggressive go, want to get there. I don't cut people off.
Are you running late? So you're driving fast?
No, not normally.
No?
I just tend to. I lived in LA for a while where everybody drives at 90 miles an hour, and I really thrived in that environment. I was younger when I did that, so I think it's carried over, and I tend to go long. Right? I tend to really like to push it and have fun with it. And in a strange twist of fate, I'm going to put it on the podcast, and that means I'm going to be in trouble. I haven't had a ticket in 15 years.
Knock on wood.
15 years. Like, I blew by a cop about 2 years ago, taking Matt MacGyver to an event, and the two of us were driving together. And
oh my gosh!
And I blew by it, and I was on a cell phone with somebody too, but it was a Bluetooth,
Just
and I said,
laws.
I just got popped for the first time in years. Cop never moved. I don't know why. So
wow.
I don't know. My warning and all of my other warning labels are pretty simple. Like if I'm drinking socially with people and stuff, I'm a really friendly, nice, drinker. I don't tend to ramp up or get pouty, and I tend to be pretty mellow around most people now. When I was younger, my warning label might have been, I'm going to push you away. Hold on a minute. Give me a minute to get in, because I will push you away initially. If you stick with it, we'll be great friends. That might have been my early warning label. So,
my God.
How about you? What is your warning label?
Well, I feel like mine would have to be something about like, caution, she will talk out of her ass. I don't know. I just say like, especially like, I just feel like sometimes I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. That activator communication.
Yeah.
I just sometimes say what I think and I don't think about it.
Yeah.
And so luckily I have like a good positive mindset. And so it's usually not like mean or anything.
Yeah.
But I definitely can do that. My husband also tells me, and I think this goes along the same lines. He's like, you have a way. And he will say this in both a nice way and sometimes a not nice way, because I do it to him. He's like, you have a way of saying like really true but harsh things to people, and then they receive it well because like you're nice. But he's like, sometimes the things you say to people are like actually mean.
So, I'm glad you said that.
Oh, right? No!
I wonder. Yeah, I'm going to point out all your flaws. No, I'm glad you said that, because my wife has told me numerous times I would have never said that.
Really?
Like in a coaching situation with like 30 people or something. And she's like, and yet you get away with it. You said it and it got a great reaction. And Renee quite often will be like, I would have never said that. I don't know how. And I think part of it is that woo. Part of it is we have a little trust. We've built a little integrity, so they know we're not coming from a mean place. And Sarah, I've known you long enough. You don't come from a mean place almost ever.
No.
And every now and then you say something where I'm like, wow. And I know you're just, hey, I'm curious. I really want to know. So
I think I lead with like full frontal authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most people see that and appreciate it. But sometimes it gets in your face and you're like, wow, we really said that out loud, huh? Like wasn't expecting that. But I hope that it is like with the harmony woo energy, that it is, people can see it's with good intent and at least they appreciate I'm being honest and not like being sneaky behind people's back is my hope. But I think that would be my warning label. Like,
it's a good warning label, actually. I like it. It's a warning. It's not hey, it's a problem. It's just a warning. Right. Just be ready for it, right? Something's going to happen. We have a guest coming on shortly, owns a business that's a very long-term friend of mine. Mm-hmm. He was following me across part of Nevada to go do something. And we got to the destination and he was like, why do you are you trying to prove something by driving that fast? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just drove the way. And he was like, no, you were literally hauling ass. And I'm like, I don't know. And then we were dropping off whatever it was. And then he rode back with me. We were dropping off his car. Mm-hmm. And we got about 3/4 of the way back and we were just chit chatting. And he goes, my fault, because here we are chit chatting and things are blazing by me. Right. And he's like, okay, you know what? Maybe I just didn't notice before. So I would also say that one of the places I drive frequently is a client that I have just on the outskirts of town, about 30-40 minutes away. It is a long-term client of mine that I absolutely love doing work with, and that is the food bank of Northern Nevada. I get to drive out there at least monthly, sometimes multi-times a month, and work with their team, their organization, some individuals out there, the entire leadership group. Sometimes it's just the outreach group part of them, or the marketing team, or the warehousing team, because they have a large warehousing facility where they take in food and do distribution for. I'm going to say this and then I'm going to be corrected. I think it's for nowadays around 160 to 180,000 people throughout the state of Nevada. And we're going to find out in a second how good I was at knowing that, because our guest today is somebody that I have worked with for all of the time I've been out at Food Bank, and even longer. She was a client and became a friend of mine before the Food Bank. Welcome to the show, Karen Senger.
Hello. So happy to be here. Thank you. And Bill, you were close with your number. Luckily, we're not that high, but the numbers have been going up. So we're serving about 155,000 people a month on average. Throughout our region, we serve 90,000 square miles. We're in Northern Nevada and Eastern California Sierras. So, yeah.
Wow. 155,000 people served by the Food Bank of Northern Nevada. And that's monthly?
That's monthly. Yes.
Wow. And how much staff, how many people to perform this task?
So we're around 95 staff total. And that includes some part-time staff that we have that coordinate our kids cafe after school programs. And we're really a logistics company. When we think about it, we are moving millions of pounds. Like last year, nearly 22 million pounds of food that we moved, that we brought in through rescuing it, through donations, through purchasing food, and then we push it back out to our network of partner agencies. We have about 155 partner agencies, mostly food pantries throughout our region. And then we have our own direct service programs, like our mobile harvest fresh produce program and our produce on wheels kind of farmers market truck for seniors, and a few other programs that we do where we're getting this food out to people who need it.
Yeah.
Such important work that you're doing, Karen. So important that I have heard that it was even recognized by one of our favorite celebrities to mention. Taylor Swift is donated to the
we
food
have
bank.
a Taylor Swift call
it's
out.
True. Ooh. I know, right? And I know there's this whole thread of Taylor Swift running through the Strengths on Fire podcast. And so we do have this connection. Yeah, we were pleasantly surprised in 2023 as part of Taylor Swift's Eras tour. She was making donations to food banks across the country, just incredibly generous. And so we got the call. It came from her publicist out of the blue. At first we thought, is this a prank? Is this a scam?
Right.
Wait, is this really
a dream come true?
Right. And sure enough, it was real. And so Taylor Swift made a donation to our food bank, which was just really wonderful. And she did that across the country with many, many food banks. And so it just shows her generosity. But
Absolutely.
there's a Taylor Swift connection there.
Wow. This is why she's our queen. We
That's
love
right.
her,
love
and
her.
we love all the food banks across the
We love
country.
her.
You all are doing incredibly important work. So we are so excited to have you on today, Karen. And I know that Bill knows you, but I don't. So I want to know, what's your story? How did you get here? Tell us a little bit about how you came to work for the food bank and your strengths journey of why you've been able to invest the time and energy into learning strengths yourself and having, Bill come to your team with your strengths. And then also, give us a little rundown of your top 10 in there.
Yes. So I call this my second tour of duty at the Food Bank of Northern Nevada. I actually worked here from 2011 to 2016. I left and went and worked for a couple other organizations. And then I came back in the fall of 2020. And because I love food banks, I'm originally from Oklahoma. I grew up in Tulsa, and I worked for both of the food banks there. The Regional Food Bank of Oklahoma in Oklahoma City, and then the Community Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma in Tulsa. And so I keep coming back to food banks. I love the mission. I love the work. And the reason I've gotten into nonprofits is really because of my number one strength, connectedness. It's very much about giving back and making a positive impact and doing good in the world. And so that led me into nonprofit work right out of college. And I actually got into, it was public relations and marketing was really where I started. And then I just somehow drifted into fundraising. I was like a lot of people, never thought that I would really get into fundraising. But as we'll talk later, you'll find out why my strengths actually are really perfect for this profession. And my strengths journey started actually when I was here at the food bank the first time around. I took the strengths assessment sometime, I was trying to think, it's probably around 2014 for the very first time. The food bank was asking staff to do that. At that time, though, we didn't have a Bill Dippel. We didn't have anybody coaching us as an organization and helping us understand. So I took it and I was like, oh, this is so awesome. I love this. We had other staff that were like, this is great. But then we kind of didn't really know what to do with it and where to go with it. And then I came back around to strengths. It was probably 2000, somewhere between 2016 and 2018, as far as just taking the assessment again. I'd always really taken to strengths and kept learning about them, but I took the assessment again. And my top 10, pretty much the same, changed a little bit. I think there were a couple of, that were sort of on the periphery before that moved up, and maybe one that moved down, and I can't remember which ones. But, and then it was shortly after that I met Bill. and actually knew his wife, Renee, before I actually knew Bill. But when Bill got into strengths coaching and then I was doing some contract work with the Blueprint Collaborative, which is Gretchen Beats's company. I know you guys had her on the podcast a little while ago. And so that's where we got to know Bill and doing, looking at our strengths as a team and how we could, interact with each other better, understand each other, communicate. And it fills my bucket. The strengths fill my bucket. And so then I came back in full time to the food bank, and I was like, we need to do strengths here, and we need to get Bill involved, and we need to, I want this, I need this, I love it. Yeah. And so, our CEO, Nicole Lamboli, was really interested, and there was another nonprofit in town that was also doing strengths-based work with Bill, and so she was hearing that plus hearing me, and so now we've got Bill working with us and his team, and it's fantastic.
And can you highlight your so connectedness? I hear it as you continue talking about it, all of the strings together there. Can you tell us the rest of your top 10, Karen, while we keep talking?
Yes. So connectedness is number 1. Then I have learner, responsibility, input, intellection, developer, consistency, adaptability, relator, and achiever. Perfect. So those are my top 10.
I love that. So if I've got this right, we've got 4 relationship building, 3 strategic thinking, and 3 executing.
That's right.
Perfect. Those are great. So, and as strengths coaches, Karen, we don't normally go here, but I've been able to work with you for a number of years now and through 2 organizations. We've had this discussion once or twice, and I know we've talked about it with some of your people in different forms and formulations, but a very, very interesting component to your strengths assessment that Sarah pointed out earlier today when we were pulling up our show notes is all of the influencing themes that you have. We've just broke the lead that you have none of them in your top 10.
That's right.
But most interestingly is that they are absolutely and completely all sandwiched together from 33, 32, 31, 30, 29, right? They're all right there. So
Karen, I said this to Bill when we pulled it up. I said, oh my goodness, all of her influencing themes are right next to each other, which is, I've just never seen them not broke up at all. And what I think is so interesting, I would love to hear you talk about, and again, we don't usually like to talk about the bottom, but I think it's fascinating because I know that you're so great at what you do with fundraising. And I think people would think, oh, someone in fundraising should, right? We get the should, have influencing themes. And here you've got yours 26 through 33. Tell us, how do you use your top 10 to be so good at that fundraising job? And how are you still influencing people, even though you're not leading with influencing themes?
Yes. No, I know. And people, there is this misconception. And actually, for our development team here, the fundraising team at the food bank, I don't think any of us we have very few influencing strength themes. And so there was some kind of like, well, how can that be? Don't you need to be influencing people to encourage them to donate to your organization? But the reality is fundraising is it's all about relationships. It is about creating relationships with our supporters to really, it's really not about us. I mean, yes, what we're doing, the mission, the work, very important, but it's really about us listening to that donor to understand what it is about our organization that they love, that they support, and really what are their philanthropic goals. And so that we're listening to them and connecting them to our mission in the way they want to be connected. And so it totally makes sense to me. I mean, yeah, there is this misconception, misunderstanding, like, wait, is there something wrong with me? Like, all of my influencing themes are down at the bottom. I really did think that. I thought, oh my gosh, what's wrong? There's something broken with me, right? But then when you really start to look at it, you're like, well, wait, no, this totally makes sense that I would lead with relationship-based skills, and that the rest of our fundraising team would too,
right?
Because that's really what we do, is creating these relationships with our supporters. And so I use my strength. So I do influence people, but in a different, not with those specific influencing strengths. So I come at it from like my learner and my input and my connectedness. So I like to help to share information and educate people about who we are and what we're doing, the impact that we're having, also asking them questions. And then, that whole connectedness, like we're all in this together, and kind of really bringing that up. And so it's a very soft, I guess, influencing, right? It's not a twist your arm.
Right.
It's not something that I'm going to force on anybody. It's a very kind and, I guess, intellectual way of influencing that I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hear that I hear the connectedness, the learner, the input, and the developer, like
Yes.
making this curiosity for folks that you're talking to and sharing it, connecting it to them, helping them learn and understand, the situation in your community and the impact that they could have by donating. And I just think, oh, that's so powerful. Okay, so I'm into your top 10, and I have to ask you, I'm always curious. I always say to people, of course, there are no strengths that are opposites, right? Because anybody can have any mix of any of the 34 in their top 10. But I love to ask people, you have consistency and adaptability. Okay, so I always say consistency usually shows up one of two ways. One way is like a fairness, right? If we do this for Jane, we need to do it for John. It can also, I see, come out in how we do things, liking schedules, routine, some sort of consistent procedures in our rhythm of what we do things. But then you've got this adaptability. Now, adaptability is a relationship building theme, right? So it's really good at meeting people where they're at. But I also find these people usually are like things to kind of be different every day in some way. They like to be able to adapt on the go. So you're showing up with consistency and adaptability. How does this look for you? Like, just tell me, what does this look like in your day to day?
Yeah. So consistency for me is more about that fairness. In fact, I was just last week thinking about with my team, I was thinking about work schedules and talking to one individual, and thought, I need to make sure that I'm being clear and setting the expectations for everybody on my team. And so that's that fairness and sort of treating everybody the same. And so that's how that shows up for me for the most part. Adaptability, I do like variety. I think that's why I like fundraising, because it really is this multidisciplinary profession that a lot of things are coming in to do the work we do. And I like variety in the day, but I do like structure. I do like a schedule. I do like to have some of that in place and not complete like just chaos. But I can just be in the moment. And I've actually helped my team with that. I see that pop up a lot, where something all of a sudden has flown in that they're asked to do. And so I'll talk to them about it, like, okay, let's kind of pull it apart here. Well, let's really understand if it's really urgent. How can we tackle it? Giving them some coaching or direction of like, okay, let's, so that they're not spending a lot of time, like, okay, just concentrate on this, and that'll get it, that'll take care of what's needed. And so kind of helping them work through like these last minute requests that pop up.
Yeah.
Very, very good. And I want to, for just a moment, I'd like to circle back onto the relationship side of this for a second. Karen, since I've known you for so long, I have a pretty decent feel of your relationship and the way that you pull that together. And you mentioned it so brilliantly early on that relationships is how you influence. It is the driver for how you actually get people to contribute or donate or help, don't give you more food, build those connections. But I have witnessed and been able to watch your entire team. We actually worked with your team last month.
Yes.
Just your team within Food Bank. And it was incredibly rewarding from a coach's point of view, is watching them bond with, understand, and feel both the relator and the developer in you, right? You really have those bonds with your employees. And because I've worked with you so long, I get to watch the developer fuel on, hey, we're going to do this because I want to make you better and better and better. And as you get better and better and better, it just motivates me to make it even better and better for you. So on top of the influencing donations and other people, can you touch on for a minute the relationship side towards your management style? And how many people, again, do you manage, and what does that look like for you? Where do you think your strengths lead into that? Because learner input are there too. I'm seeing it as part of that relationship side. So let me know.
Right. Yeah. So our development team, it's a team of 9. So that's a nice size group. And there's 5 people that report to me directly. But yeah, the way I always want people to feel supported. I always want people to have the information and the resources they need, right? That's that relationship building themes. That's the input and the learner me. Let me give you the resources. And I truly want to help people be successful. And even if that means that they are then leaving our organization at some point to go on and further their career or do whatever it is that they want to do. So, and I've told people that. I'm not sure if I've told everybody that specific thing, but I'm always, saying this is what, I'm here to help you, and I enjoy that, and I love to mentor, not only the folks in my team, because I do have some younger people in my team and people that are newer to fundraising, but also outside the organization. I've always found myself kind of gravitating to, mentorship kinds of opportunities. So yeah, it's important to me, and it's a team sport. While we have individual goals, we're focused on different parts of our fundraising activities and strategies. Like I always remind people, we're a team, and I don't ever want anyone to feel like they're completely on an island with no support, having to, pull some weight there without having the support of the team and the organization.
Yeah. Okay, I have another question. This is my strengths curiosity is just on fire today. You have the powerful combination of having responsibility and achiever, right? Achiever is that executing theme of like starting every day at 0. How much can I get done? Responsibility is that executing theme. Like if I tell you I'm going to do something, my word is good as gold. I typically see folks who have both of these in their top 10. They are high performers, high producers, sort of like the cream of the crop. We love to see them, right? They're great. But it can make leadership difficult. Have you experienced that, the delegating of it all? Because oftentimes folks with these two strengths can do a lot and they just are like, it's easier for me to do it. Just give it to me. I know I can do it and I can trust myself. How have you managed that in a leadership role?
Well, it's been a long journey. And so if you go back to earlier in my career, there was this tendency to just, it's just easier to do it myself. And then I'm going to have to explain it to somebody and, and taking on too much really, right? Just agreeing to do too many things.
Yeah.
And so I've really, and it's still something I work on, but I've gotten some good advice along the way. And I forget who told me this, but someone said, or maybe I read it, that, you really are not, you're not allowing people to grow when you're not giving them these other opportunities, when you're not delegating projects and tasks to them, when you're not saying, hey, I think you have some ability to do this, and I'd love for you to take this on. So I've internalized that, and I remind myself that, and even and definitely when I'm thinking, oh gosh, maybe I should delegate this, and like, well, who would I delegate that to, and what does that look like? And like, well, that might take too much time, but just going, no, 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 this is really a good thing. So I guess my my developer kind of is like, whoa, no, don't do that, because that's not developing people if you're keeping it from them. But it's a love-hate relationship, and my responsibility in particular is I have a love-hate relationship with, and I and Renee Dippel and I talk about this because we both have responsibility. Bill's wife, we put it in the trunk. We feel like we have to put it in the trunk and put that responsibility away. So and I think it was Bill or maybe it was Renee who said, your responsibility strength it's been very much about me and what I should be doing, but I can turn that and focus that outward. And how can I help other people take responsibility on, help them feel like they're doing more and growing? So that's, again, another thing that I keep saying to myself.
I have a great visualization for this. Tell me if this tracks. In my mind, I see your responsibility and your developer playing tug of war, right? I have to win. I have to win. I have to win. And at some point they go, wait, this isn't a battle or a game. We can just like both grab the middle of the rope and work together.
Yeah, but that is a great visual. It hasn't always been the way I looked at it or understood and having this conflict, but that is totally how I see it now. Is like, no, it's not a battle.
Right.
Responsibility and developer can work together, and that's actually a good thing. And it's actually, because I look back to, group projects in school, college, like I always hated those because I was like, oh man, I'm going to be the one that does all the work.
Yep.
But honestly, that's really being selfish when you think, because that was me probably jumping in to say, I'll do it, or I'm the only one that can do it right. Or then people see me volunteering and they're like, oh, great, she's going to do it. Just let her do it. So I see there's some responsibility that I have with my responsibility.
There is. There is. And we talked about this a bit, and you just brought it up about focusing your responsibility outward rather than inward. We talked about it on our last month, but we also have hit on this before. How we see our strengths is very different than how others around us see our strengths. So one of the really powerful things we did with your group was in bringing just your group in the room and letting them know they're in a safe space, they can be honest about it. You can make that revelation to your team so that your team understands, oh, I know why she takes so much on. We have to be a little more cognizant of, is she taking on too much? I need to ask, what are we going to take on and put off? Where does that come into? And just knowing that aiming it outwards was really a powerful moment for you, especially with your team in the room and having them build on that together. That's where the real, I guess, the magic can happen in Gallup, and that we being open with each other in that room and allowing you to explain why that is, and you hearing, very importantly, from your employees, this is what fuels me. This is what really, really, why I like this part of it, and don't bond so much to that part of it. Well, let's keep you in that engaged area.
Exactly.
This all feeds directly to the point of this and the question I would have, which is, I'm going to step out of your top 10 because we don't get so caught up in exactly the labels or where they exactly sit. We bounce around that. I want to talk about everything I just mentioned in you and your number 11, which is harmony. How does harmony, right? We're bringing that team together. Harmony, for those of us strengths enthusiasts that don't have it, it's that ability to get everybody rowing in the same direction, get everybody pushing towards a common goal. How do you think that motivates both you, your management style, and the asks that you do at Food Bank?
Yeah, and it's so funny because when I was kind of preparing for today and looking at my strengths again, and I saw that harmony at number 11, and I was like, oh, yeah, there's harmony. Yeah, I think it does. Again, it's very much, I use strengths to understand my team members, and I use that to help us come together to work better together, to be more cohesive,
Mm-hmm.
hoping that I'm helping everybody understand each other, and so we can really be productive and effective and efficient, and moving together in the same direction. So I think that's the harmony does come into that. I don't, I know sometimes harmony is, not rocking the boat and not saying things that might, throw people off, or be something that causes some dissent or some division. And I'm not afraid to sort of have the hard conversations or to put things out there. So harmony shows up a little bit different for me in that sense. But I do love it when we're all working together and everybody's, we're all happy and rowing the same
Yeah.
direction. And that is, I think when that's not happening, that's when my my learner, my input, my intellection come into play, and like, oh, well, what's going on? Let me think about this. Oh, do I need to read an article
Mm-hmm.
about this, or I need to go find some information? I need to go talk to some people, some team members, maybe to understand what's happening. And I'm often the person that is really looking at what is not working. And oftentimes, when things are not working, it's often because of miscommunication,
Mm-hmm.
misunderstandings, assumptions made. So somebody will bring an issue or a concern or a problem to me, and I'll listen, and then I'll think, I bet let's get the right people in the room. And I think there's just a conversation, whether it's me telling that person, go back and have that conversation with that person and find out more, because maybe I think there's just some things that just need to be worked out, or it's me sort of facilitating, let's bring people into the room and let's just talk through this. And oftentimes that does the trick. Oftentimes it's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, I thought you meant this, and I thought you were really trying to do that. And no, 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 we're really on the same page. And so I do a lot of that with my team and with folks outside the team here at the food bank, because we're interacting with other departments. And just helping, I point out people's, I'm like, well, when you go talk to that person, they have high achiever, they're all about
Yeah.
those tasks. So, here's how you might want to frame this up for them. Or, that person has ideation. So that's why they've got lots of ideas flowing around. And so don't let that overwhelm you. But, here's how you can tap into that. So I'm like the strengths translator.
Yeah. Oh,
Love it. And
we want that.
we absolutely, that's the coaching goal,
Mm-hmm.
is turn you into as good a coach as you are. And I know this from working with you and being able to be there as a resource for your people and even other people in the organization that want to dive in a little deeper and talk about it. You actually ran a book club within
Yeah.
within Food Bank for a while, where you were reading It's the Manager with
Yes.
a large group of people. And I,
Yes.
again, I talk about dream clients, very
Right.
aware, right? Right.
Well, and what I
Yeah.
love with what you're saying, Karen, is this is, we work with so many clients. I'll have a lot of people say, we're interested in strengths, or we've done it before. Can you come do one or two things? And of course, we always I am the type of coach where I say, like, yes, bring me in for just one or two things because you'll want more. And usually they do, but oftentimes they're like, okay, this is fun or interesting, but how do we use it, right? And Karen, the way you're describing it, for anyone listening, if you haven't entered into a strengths journey yet, this is how you use it. Karen is the perfect example. You can hear there's been years of investment in strengths, right? This is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
Years of learning yourself and other people. So now when you work with your people, you can say, hey, remember this person has ideation. So that's why you're hearing all these ideas. It doesn't mean they think your idea is bad. They just have a lot of ideas, right? Or this person
Exactly.
has that achiever. What can you give them to do? Because they're going to love to have something to do. And that is the power. That is the beauty of knowing people's Clifton strengths. You can just help your people yourself and help them with each other. So I love to hear that, your work with Bill and your work on this has really led you to that point, because it shows strengths in action, which is the goal. We want to be able to use this. We often talk about name it, claim it, aim it. This is what aiming it looks like. So kudos, Karen, and kudos, Bill. You've done great.
Well, I'd like to say the blank canvas was pretty pure when I got there. So that, Karen stepped in. And Karen, you touched on another component that I'd like you to build on for just a second, because you grazed it just right, but you didn't dive into it. And that was, I know we've talked about this a bit. Your harmony, right? You can want everybody going in that direction, but you also mentioned, but I'm not always afraid to have that tougher discussion, which is another great coaching learning moment from the Gallup point of view. The harmonies are sometimes the people you want to have in the room when there's going to be some grit, when there's going to be some, hey, we're going to disagree on certain aspects. And I want you in there because you're going to be the person that actually gets us rowing in that direction. Now, it's true that quite often if the dissension is so big, right, it's going nuclear, you're more like, I'm out. I just don't want to, I don't need to deal with this. But in order, before it gets to that level and in order to keep pushing it, you're the one that we're like, hey guys, we're losing focus for a second here. That's the actual destination. Let's go there. Yeah. Would you say that's fair in your usage of harmony?
Yes, I think that's very fair. Yeah, very accurate.
Yeah, because a mature harmony will go into conflict when conflict's necessary to get to the other side, which is everyone rowing in the same direction, right? It's that raw harmony that can get us into trouble because it's so afraid of conflict that it avoids it. So it sounds like you've been able to finesse it, and having it at 11 is probably great because you can kind of pick it up and set it down when you need to. But you've been able to finesse it to be mature, probably through your other strengths, right? I have to imagine your entire top 10 contributes to your ability to finesse that harmony because, as you know, in any sort of leadership role, we will experience conflict, or even if not big C conflict, little sort of frictions, and you have to help people get through it. You can't just avoid it. And so anybody in a leadership situation who's got a harmony sitting in that top 10, top 15, we've got to learn, how do we go into it when necessary?
Right. Yeah. And that harmony definitely pops up and is a little stronger sometimes, where I'm like, oh, boy, I just don't want to have to deal with that. I really don't want to have that conversation or bring that up. But Brene Brown, right, talks about clear is kind, and that's something we've been emphasizing at the organization lately too. And so I just think, no, and those other strengths come in to say, this isn't, this will not ultimately be good if you try to avoid this. And I've become more mature in that as I've advanced in my career and as I've had more relationships with people and managing people. I would say earlier in my career, I probably, harmony was not as mature, and there were probably times when I might be avoiding, like, I'm not going to go there. I don't want to do that. But just through coaching and through understanding strengths and other, management resources and articles and so forth, just going, no, you have to have these hard conversations, and you owe that to people. Like, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's your responsibility and developer saying, we got to do this.
Exactly. Like, darn it.
No. That's right. We're parking the harmony in the in the back for a while, and our developer and responsibilities taking the steering wheel today.
Taking control.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
exactly.
Karen, we have talked so much about so many amazing things that you do, and you have a really clear understanding of your strengths, and you've got a lot of mature usage of these strengths. But I know all these strengths, they got the dark side. So when have your strengths gotten you into a dumpster fire?
Yeah, no, I do have dumpster fires, and I was thinking about that leading into this to today, and I had a supervisor actually when I was working at the food bank the first time around. And I so appreciate that she had this conversation with me, this sort of difficult maybe conversation, or just not difficult, just give me really honest feedback. But she said, Karen, you share articles with the organization, with staff members, like, you're pushing things out 2 or 3 times a week, different resources, articles, and it's just too much. and it's, maybe if you summarized, or, you had more focus or thought about what you're pushing out, it would really be so much more helpful. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's my input. And I am just fire hosing people with all this stuff, because I'm very much about current affairs, like what's happening now. And I need to do that in my fundraising role and as a nonprofit executive, like what's happening out there in the environment and the economy. What are the trends? What do we need to be paying attention to? And so it was that point where I realized, oh boy, okay, I am fire hosing people with my input.
Yeah.
Probably have been doing it for forever. And so I have definitely dialed that back. I definitely, when I come across an article or something, I think, okay, I want to share this. Do I need to share it? Is it something they need to know right now? Is it going to be beneficial to them? Is now the time? Maybe it's something I can share later. Who do I share it with? So I filter it. I go through that, and I share a whole lot less. But I still do it, but I try to be more strategic about it. So that was some great bit of advice that I got that's helped me.
I love that as an example of someone who says kind of a hard thing, right? Because it wasn't this, I have to imagine, sharing articles is not like this detrimental thing that could like ruin your career.
Seems
helpful and harmless, but good to know, because then, you don't want people saying like, oh my gosh, did you see, I had like 7 emails from Karen in the past 2 weeks.
Exactly.
What's going on? You don't want people talking like that. And so it's really kind for her to have said that to you. Okay, as someone with high input, I just have to know, are you also a physical manifestation of input? Like, do you have a lot of stuff? Do you have like books and articles? Do you have a messy desk, or is it like the mental? Okay.
I have lots of books, and I keep magazines, and yes, I do have I've kind of organized my desk. It gets to me after a while. I see stacks of things or clutter, and it's like my brain can't think. So I do need to, clear things and organize, but I tend to just accumulate things. Mostly it's like, it's flyers and handouts and articles and magazines and books.
Yes. That input. Some people don't have it, and I'm jealous of them. I love the strength, but not the physical manifestation. It really gets me. I tell you what, my desk is a mess, and I know where everything is, and I know why I have everything.
Right.
But I just can't help it. I just feel like I might need this. I might need to give this to someone. I might need to reference it. Let me buy the physical books. I mean, it is an issue in my marriage. My husband's like, why do you have all this crap?
I'm just sitting here thinking, throw it away. I don't, because my input is low, right? And I'm like, no, I don't, my desk always the way it needs to be.
Must be nice.
Well, but
must be.
I do, every now and then, I mean, I do need a tool or something that I'm like, I'll never use this again, and I threw it away 8 months ago. And I will then be like, oh, I had that. Now,
wish I had that.
Now I gotta go buy it again. So it does bite me from time to time too. And Karen, I would say too that in listening to you talk about fire hosing, with the possibility of fire hosing with some articles and ideas, that's the inversion. That's a little mature learner in there, as well as the input side, because you're learning it. Yeah. You want to take all that in.
Yes.
Totally. But you also want to get it out there, right?
Yeah.
You want to make sure people see it and hear it and know it. And high input learners, they just really, I need to absorb it. I want to get to the end of it, but I also want to help people understand it. And I've known you as that way for years now. So just, I reflect on that, and I hear that input working really hard on you. And then the learner, and again, developer shows up in there. I want to help other people, because we're going to talk about what that is and how that looks. So Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd say, the other, I have other dumpster fires and other strengths that,
No.
no.
Don't we all just have one?
I saw those 2 bottles of wine behind you, so I was like, "There's another dumpster fire at some point."
That's right. That's
Give us
right.
one more. Give us another dumpster fire.
So, well, let's go with intellection, because we talked a little bit about responsibility and my love-hate with responsibility, but intellection. So, in particular, with my husband. So it's like a party in my head, and he often says, "Oh, you're in Karen land. I will, do all the problem solving and figure it all out in my head. Maybe it's a trip that we've been talking about that's coming up, and he's asked me some things, or like think of, and I'm like, okay, yeah, and I'm going to do all this, and then all of a sudden I say, well, I think we should do that. I come to this very definitive, okay, I've got it. This is what we should do. And he's kind of like, well, how did you get to that? Or where did that come from? Or how, I often don't, I forget that I haven't let people into my thinking. Sometimes I haven't taken that out of my head and been like, hey, here's what I'm thinking, and here are the things I'm looking at, and also getting input from other people, right? It's sometimes again, that's like a party in my head. It's a party of one, and I'm doing it all.
Yeah.
And that's not really kind and smart, really, to do that, to exclude. And it's not that I might have talked to some people, and then that's coming in and I'm swirling that around in my head, but that can be detrimental and kind of hurtful or harmful to other people. So I've tried to be more aware of, okay, I need to bring people into my thinking and share how I got from point A to point D.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and I can even see that playing into that first dumpster fire, right? You're seeing an article, you think through, oh my gosh, this is why this is relevant, da 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 da.
Right.
You send it to people with not that context, though, because you're like, oh, it'll just make sense to them, not realizing that they're not in your Karen land in your head.
Right.
And so then they don't know. Well, like, why'd she send me this article?
What is this about?
Right.
Like, why does she keep doing this to me?
And it's intellection.
Are you saying I need to learn something from this? What are you saying? What am I losing? Right.
Exactly.
Well, and I think I love what you point out, because intellection, it's that delicate balance where the greatness comes when you have time to really think about things. But it can get in your way because you have to have that time, right? So it's like, what do you, like you're saying, if you're not communicating it, you're already 7 steps ahead of everyone else. And so it's being able to communicate to people. Or I actually love that your husband says, was it you're in Karen land?
Yes.
Because to me, I love helping people come up with like code words, because I actually think it can be hard to, this is probably my harmony showing, instead of just saying like, hey, you didn't let me in on that. Like, it sounds a little rough. I love coming up with like playful things like Karen land. So even telling your team, hey, if you feel like I've over intellectioned something, you can just say, hey, were you in Karen land on that? Because I feel like I'm missing a few pieces. And it makes it like a little bit lighter. It brings some levity to it. Everyone can be like, oh, ha, 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 ha. I mean, I'll literally tell people, just come up with the word pineapple. And you can just be like, I feel like we're having a pineapple moment. And everyone has agreed that it means XYZ is happening. And so then we can be like, oh, okay. And it just helps us address some of those things that might be weird or awkward for other people to say. But we say, no, I want you to. I want you to let me in when I've like walked 7 steps in my head and you don't know where we're at.
Yes. No, I love that. That's such great advice. And yeah, I mean, the fact that my husband does that, it is I don't take offense. Oh, okay. I'm in Karen land. But using that with my team, that's a great suggestion. I should let them know, like, hey, when I'm doing this, here's, tell me I'm in Karen land. If I am, my responsibility is flaring up and I'm doing something that you would really wanted to do, or you feel like I shouldn't be doing, like there could be a code word for that, right?
Yeah.
So then they could just say that, and it feels less threatening, easy for them to do, and then they don't have to worry about, oh, she's going to get defensive, or she's going to, act out or something.
And I just think it's great for team building. We know, like, if we think about teams, like, we love inside jokes, they're not bad when you're like part of a team, right? Like we need things that like we get. That's why all those common shared experiences, they build us and bond us together. So using sort of that code word we've all agreed upon, everyone knows what it means. It also kind of connects us at a deeper level too, because we're all in on it. We get it.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, really, really good. Well, in that, because we've asked you the hard question, right? Let's give you an easy one. Well, I wouldn't say easy. Let's give you one to have a little fun with. All right. So,
All right.
all right. You are competing in a bake-off, but you have never baked a day in your life, which, Karen, I know you well, that's not true. But you have never baked a day in your life. How do your strengths help you win?
Well, so I'm definitely going to turn to that learner and input. I'm going to be like, okay, what videos can I watch? What articles can I read? Okay, let me get my hands on some recipes, and kind of pulling all that information together. And then I think adaptability is going to fly in because I'm going to, I mean, I'm going to be anxious. I'll be like, oh my gosh, like I'm in this bake off and I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm going to be like, like I've prepared enough. I think I have enough information. I'm just going to do it. See what happens.
Just going off, right?
Just go with it. And I think that those would be the strengths that I'd probably be pulling in on that.
Yeah, I would agree. If I know you're coming up on the Great British Baking Show, I'm definitely tuning in. I'm going to see those strengths in all it.
And I feel like you would make friends with all the other bakers. Like you would be like, oh, did you drop your sugar? Here, you can use mine.
I probably would. I actually was just watching that show, and they have a celebrity version, and they had celebrities on that didn't. They've never hardly baked, and it's hilarious to watch. But I think that I would see it as being really fun. And I'd be like, oh, I'm going to get to meet other people. That'll be cool. And I would want to win. I would definitely want to win. I don't know where
competition
sits at 32.
See, it's low. Yeah.
Way down there. Yeah.
But it does fly in, or something flies in to want me to be a little bit competitive. Maybe achiever.
I was just going to say maybe
that.
achiever responsibility. She likes to do good.
Yeah. So, but it's funny to watch those shows and watch people who don't know how to bake. So yeah.
Your cakes, we know that you're influencing way down there. So.
No, I'm going to have that blue icing, which I'm not sure if that's really appealing. But the color blue in food is not an appealing color. But you're decorating a cake. You can use. Right. I would use. I love color. I would use all the colors. I would have a very colorful cake.
A rainbow cake.
A rainbow cake. That's right.
Oh,
perfect.
Karen, you have just been a pleasure to have on the podcast today. I am just so happy to learn more about you and get to know you a little bit better and hear about all the great things the food bank is doing. So thank you for taking your time to be with us.
Oh, thank you so much, Sarah. It's been so nice to visit with you, because I've known Bill for some years. And so just really thrilled to be with you guys today.
Yeah, and Karen, I would tell you, I appreciate and absolutely adore working with you and your team and continuing our Food Bank of Northern Nevada relationship. But also when I come in and whenever I see Karen, my day gets even a little better, right? It's good when I get there, but then I always seek out Karen's office to say, hey, how are you doing today?
He does, and I always appreciate that. I always get a big hug from Bill, and I just feel very supported.
Yeah, they're world famous bear hugs. They're big hugs.
Yes, they're big hugs. Yeah, big bear hugs.
Bill bear hug.
Yeah, and I just, Karen, thank you for all the time and honesty and working through multiple jobs together and carrying the strengths torch through different phases of your life and your professional career. And again, it's so rewarding from a coaching point of view to hear somebody step into it and become a bit of a coach themselves. And my developer gets fired up to watch that. So our developers do that together.
Karen, if people want to find you, where can they find you? Are you on the LinkedIn's?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm LinkedIn. People can look up my profile, but if they want to go to www.fbnn.org, that's F as in Frank, B as in boy, N as in Nancy, N as in Nancy.org, Food Bank of Northern Nevada. I'm on the staff page there, and so they can connect to me that way, and they can see more about what we're doing here at the Food Bank of Northern Nevada as well.
And if anyone wants to donate, can they donate food and or money to you as well?
Absolutely. Yes. And that, again, going to that fbnn.org website, there's a really big donate button up in the upper right-hand corner to make a monetary donation. If there's food companies or grocery stores or anybody that wants to do a food drive, they can find out how to do that on our website as well. So we're always looking for more community support. We have such great support from our community, from our region, and we love that. And so, yeah, if people want to join us in this effort to help relieve hunger, they can find out more on our website.
So if Taylor Swift can do it, so can the rest of us.
That's right.
I was just going to chime in that I've contributed to the food bank the last couple of years. During a particular time when they have a triple your match, right? Somebody will triple up if you contribute. And those are the times I choose to contribute to the food bank. But I'm just assuming Taylor was probably more generous than I was. And it's just an assumption.
Well,
but,
she has probably a little bit more to give. I mean, I think that you have an incredibly successful business, Bill, but Taylor Swift is just,
I'm guessing she
more.
She might have been a little bit more, but you know what? I really do mean this. Every gift matters. And Bill, we have so appreciated that you've supported the food bank in that way and giving back. I mean, obviously supporting us with the strengths work, but then doing that is always really special to us. So we appreciate that.
And thank you for everything that you are absolutely doing for the community. That's a tremendous number of people that you're helping, and in a great way to do it. So
absolutely.
Thank you for that. Well, with that, we're gonna give you back your time, Karen, for today, and thank you for sharing the parts that you shared with us. We are so grateful that you do what you do, and you've come on to talk to us about it. So, with that, we will talk to our arsonists on the next episode. And for all of you, thanks for listening, and we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on Strengths on Fire. If today's conversation sparked something in you, be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. We're here bringing you fresh insights to fuel your growth and ignite your potential. Remember, your strengths are powerful, so let's keep the fire burning.
And if you're looking to transform your organization through strengths-based strategies and coaching, reach out to Sarah Collins, founder of Collins Collective, or Bill Dippel, founder of Bill Dippel Strengths Coaching. Connect with Sarah at wearecollinsco.com. Follow her on Instagram at SarahCoachCollins, or email her at sarah@wearecollinsco.com, SARAH. You can reach Bill at BillDippel.com, Bill, DIPPEL.com, or on Instagram at Bill Dippel Coach, or email him at bill@BillDippel.com.
Please note the opinions, views, and interpretations of Clifton Strengths expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and the guests. They have not been approved, sanctioned, or endorsed by Gallup in any way.
Until next time, keep your strengths on fire and let's light up what's possible together. Bye, Bill.
Bye, Sarah.